Okay, we are rolling. Champions of Champions boxing talk here. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you like this channel, subscribe now. Sounds really corny, doesn't it? But that's what all YouTube channels say. So if you're real smart, subscribe. If you're kinda dumb, don't bother. No, I'm just kidding. Canelo Alvarez Triple G, or I should say Triple G and Canelo Alvarez Part 2, is signed for September the 15th in the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. I'm going to talk about the politics surrounding this fight, and it's very complicated and it's very political. First of all, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I don't have a horse in this race. Neither guy is from my nation. And particularly, I don't really even support fighters from my nation. I'm very much a neutral boxing fan who sort of realises as the story goes along with certain fighters which styles I prefer and which styles I don't, who the true guys are in the sport who the guys full of nonsense are. And that's how my sort of likes in a league table, if you will, sort of constructs itself. But by and large, there is no agenda anyway whatsoever. I think both these guys are very talented pound for pound material fighters. Right? Oh, I was asked to make up a phrase for the channel, by the way. And many certain channels do make phrases, don't they? Well, this is going to be mine. Whoever I pick, I expect to win. And I won't be surprised if they win. But if they lose, I won't be shocked. Because this is boxing. I'll say that again. Whoever I pick, I won't be surprised if they win. But if they lose, I won't be shocked because this is boxing. There you go. There you have it. So, Triple G, Canelo Alvarez. The guy who has made a mess of this whole process it's obviously Canelo. Right? And that's nothing against Canelo. It's what the evidence says. Failed drug tests. Failed. Right? You don't have a drug test that says this is the test that gives you leeway and little built-in excuses. No, a failed drug test is a failed drug test. It's right there, black and white in front of you. Canelo, people say, is he guilty? Yes, he tested positive. Whether you believe it's contaminated meat or not, he's guilty. He tests positive. Forget the spin. The tests are in. There's another phrase. Forget the spin. The tests are in. And the results were not good. I've said it before, I'll say it again. What is a multimillionaire like Canelo Alvarez doing eating contaminated meat? He can afford the best. How come he's never been caught with this before? It's very strange that when the big bad wolf Triple G turns up, this is found in his system. So, Oscar De La Hoya was surprised when Triple G asked for a 50-50 in this fight. He's now ended up, I think, with 42%. Some people said, well, that means Canelo wanted the rematch more than Golovkin. No, because now Golovkin has got 42%. He's fighting Canelo. Duh. So, he obviously wants the fight. He just wants to be paid the right price, like they all do. I will say this, though. We know what Canelo is. We know there's shady judges behind this guy. We now know the results of the drug tests. We've seen his body transform into what, can only be described as an incredible Hulk-like shape. That's all there. You know it, I know it, Gennady Golovkin knows it. All this messing around has meant that Gennady Golovkin has had to drop one of his world titles and probably now may never become the undisputed middleweight champion of the world. It also ruined for me an incredible style matchup between Gennady Golovkin and Billy Joe Saunders. You see, I don't care about hype. This is the difference between me and some other people. Canelo's promoted by Oscar De La Hoya, so he's special. I don't care about that. I don't care about his pay-per-view numbers, his image, all of this stuff. I want to see two men in the ring exchange punches. And Billy Joe Saunders, in his own way, is very good at that, in his own style. He's not as famous as Canelo, but who gives a damn? He's not as famous as Kim Kardashian either. Who gives a shit? Right? Let's just say it that way. Style-wise, I think that would have been a harder match for Gennady Golovkin. That doesn't mean to say that I automatically think Billy Joe Saunders would have his way with Canelo. But am I a little bit disappointed that this fight is happening? Yeah, I'd have rather seen Gennady Golovkin unify titles, become undisputed, than this, shall we say, casual. You see, people that love this fight are people that love events, but not necessarily love fights. The first fight for me on paper looked a barnstormer, but it was disappointing. In terms of entertainment, it was a lot better than Maypac, but God, it was not Hagler Hearns, or shall we say the Thriller in Manila. Not in any way, shape or form. Why? Canelo, the Mexican, was extremely negative. And because of his negativity, he gave away the fight. He lost the fight because of it. Forget what the judges said. Forget what Canelo fans say, who again are interested more in events than fights. Go by the fight, the eye test. The punches connected. Let's talk about the style matchup. Let's talk about how Canelo can actually win in the rematch, or have a chance of winning. He's going to have to do things that he's not done before. But when I look at his body type, when I look at his strength, when I look at his skills, there's half a hope that he is capable of this. Canelo Alvarez's best work in the first fight was when he was in the pocket fighting Gennady Golovkin. Putting combinations and exchanging, right? Because Canelo was defensively good enough to sort of avoid really being badly hurt by Triple G. But landing good shots inside. Problem with that is, though, this, and I don't know how he gets around this. This is the question. You're either born with stamina, or you're not. Stamina is a talent just like speed, a God-given one. Yes, we can all work extremely hard to develop stamina, but then there's elite stamina. You know, some people can, everybody virtually can sort of, if they're determined enough, find a way to complete a marathon. But there are certain human beings at elite level that can do that thing in just over 2 hours. Boxing's the same. If you've got a guy in front of you that will fight at your pace and your style, you can get through 12 rounds. Problem with Canelo, he's at the elite level. And he's facing guys who won't let him just do what he wants. Who won't let him throw his combinations, back off, and just, you know, let Canelo gather the points up. As Chavez did when he fought Canelo. Canelo could not do consistent work inside against Triple G, a la Ricky Hatton, a la Joe Frazier, a la, shall I say, Roberto Duran, who could fight for 3 minutes virtually nearly every round, for 15 rounds. Canelo needs to be thinking along these lines strategically. He's a good body puncher on the inside. He did throw some good uppercuts. He had good hand speed and combinations. The foot speed, ironically, did look pretty fast. It looked slow against other fighters, i.e. Floyd Mayweather, because they're welterweights. But when you go up to middleweight, now his speed is catching up and he's looking as quick, or maybe quicker than a lot of these guys, right? But Canelo is a methodical fighter. That's his problem when he fights Triple G, because Triple G is much more of a boxer and methodical fighter than people think, right? Even the Amir Khan fight, Canelo did not beat Khan the way Golovkin beat Kell Brook. Kell Brook got smashed to pieces by Gennady Golovkin, methodically. Canelo was waiting for his moment against Amir Khan. Had Canelo had Roberto Duran-like stamina and sort of did the things he did early against Golovkin, Amir Khan would have been out there in 2-3 rounds. He would. But Canelo doesn't have the stamina to do that. He's got to pick his points. And he's got to pick his moments to land that crisp, massive over right hand he landed on Amir Khan. But it took Amir Khan to slow down and get complacent and sloppy again, right? When he did that, Canelo made him pay big time. But Canelo cannot seem to force it. He always looks to create it. Canelo has got the physique to blast a guy into orbit. But he tries to be Floyd Mayweather sometimes. And he's not. He's a brilliant boxer, great timing, good counterpuncher, good combinations. But he's not quite Floyd Mayweather. Some of the times when he was on the back foot against Golovkin was more out of getting fatigued, I think, than actual choice. Mayweather does that as a choice. That's his game. Canelo did it because he was getting tired working on the inside, throwing punches. Then he had to back off. And when he backed off, what happened? Golovkin's jab and reach come into play. Canelo was fighting at times in that fight for 1 minute, 3 rounds. And I think Golovkin knew this. Wouldn't it be surprising to Golovkin if Canelo could stay there for 2 minutes and do what he was doing? Beating Golovkin to the punch. Because if there's distance, Canelo will get his head boxed off with a jab again. I'm telling you. Here's the thing. If Canelo really, really works on his stamina, he might lose mass. Because you need bulk to absorb what Triple G's giving you. And here's the other question. Just suppose that performance and other Canelo performances, great performances, some in the past, have been the result of performance-enhancing drugs. We might see Canelo exposed. But if Canelo is still as strong, then we know that the drugs are not playing that much of a key in his results. So, things to keep in mind. People said Golovkin never really hurt Canelo that much. I don't think he did, but he outlanded Canelo. I was surprised by how Canelo took some of Golovkin's shots, considering I've seen Canelo been hurt by much smaller men. Make of that what you will, right? How does Gennady Golovkin? We've already said how Canelo could possibly win this. Going for the jugular, having more stamina, fighting more on the inside and at distance, close distance with Gennady Golovkin for longer than he did in the first fight. But Canelo made a good start early. Golovkin has got to make a better start early this time. He now knows what's in front of him. He now knows that he has got to fight twice as good as he did in the first fight, to get a decision. He may even have to knock Canelo out. Here's the thing. If Canelo's stamina is weak after doing work on the inside, if he goes for the strategy that I'm talking about, his feet are not going to move as fast. He's not going to have as much energy on the retreat. Golovkin has to plant more shots to the body to stop Canelo moving on the back foot. He's got to, as well, as I say, get the crowd behind him from round one. Round one. That way, momentum is Golovkin's. Equally, he's got to keep him against the ropes as he did in the first fight and was able to back Canelo up, but he's got to cut the ring off and not let Canelo escape. Golovkin, though, when he's got him backed up on the ropes, has got to be able to keep himself at a good distance to deliver them punches. Not be so close up, because I think that's Canelo's advantage, with the shorter arms to get his shots on the inside. What do I ultimately think? Do I think Golovkin needs to be more aggressive? Yes, but educated aggressiveness. And not as rushed. Ironically, I think he actually did rush some of his work after the early rounds because he was playing sort of catch-up. Make Canelo sort of chase you. And make him walk onto shots. Because that's what Canelo will have to do if Golovkin makes a good start. And that is achieved through jabs, body shots. When he lands enough body shots. And here's the thing. At times I thought Golovkin was looking for the perfect punch too much in that fight. He's got to throw more volume for me. If he hits the body enough times, he's got the accuracy to do it. If he does that, Canelo's arms will come down. When his arms are up, trust me, a punch from Gennady Golovkin on the arms is going to hurt. He needs to think about just hitting the body, not just hitting the perfect sweet spot all the time. If he does that, Canelo will be more open then to power punches. The hands will come lower. Because Golovkin has some power. Canelo handled it well with his movement and escaping, but if Golovkin can cut off the ring, throw more shots, hit areas, hit the body, even hit arms. If punches are blocked, enough of them will hurt your opponent's arms. I've seen Golovkin drop a guy off hitting him in the shoulder, right? I didn't really see that sort of ambition to throw those sort of shots, though, against Canelo. He sort of wanted to be the perfection of accuracy in that first fight. And that's why the jab was his most important punch. But he was hitting Canelo with a jab to set up another jab. In this fight, he needs to use the jab, use the power punch, use the jab to set the power punch up. Do you see what I'm saying? Also, Gennady Golovkin is an extremely energetic fighter with great stamina. He can afford to sort of pick pace up early. The pace of his work. For me, Canelo got trapped into fighting Golovkin's pace because Canelo was slowing down. When Canelo slows down, which he will, Golovkin has to speed up. Landing one or two shots here, we know with the judges is not going to impress them. Ultimately, who do I favour? I don't think Canelo has the ability to develop this Roberto Duran strategy in terms of stamina. He is as good as it says on the tin, Canelo. And the biggest flaws, I think, come from his stamina issues. It rears its head time and time and time again. Problem is, with Liam Smith, you could take a round off, can't you? With Gennady Golovkin, you can't. And especially a Gennady Golovkin that feels wronged, that feels angry about that first fight, that feels as though Gennady Golovkin is like the guy that lost the first fight. I know officially he got the draw, and I think he won it, and so did the world, most of it. But Gennady Golovkin is coming into this fight feeling like the guy that lost the first. That's dangerous. Gennady Golovkin is the guy in this fight coming in there with still something to prove. Had Golovkin won that first fight, his motivation may have been different. Subconsciously, they don't do it on purpose, but it might just have been different. But now he knows Canelo's style a little bit more. He knows what he didn't do in that first fight. And there's motivation there. See, I don't think Gennady Golovkin is the fighter he used to be. I think he's slightly past his prime. If there's a time for Canelo to beat Golovkin, it's now. However, there's a strange phenomenon that happens in boxing sometimes. An old fighter always has one last great performance in him. The question for me and the question for you is that going to be in the rematch? Golovkin, is he going to produce as the elder statesman that one last great showing? I'm thinking yes. Here's the thing though. If Canelo gets to the 12th round and Golovkin is screwed over again by the judges, well, you knew what you were in for, Triple G. You took the money. You took money to hang around with unscrupulous individuals, Canelo and his cronies. You know what they're all about. It's kind of like a girlfriend that's being abused by a partner. But she knows what he is. And she's got a nice place of her own, but she keeps going back to him. Well, in the end, whose fault is it? You know, if you put your hand in a fire and it burns you, you can't blame the fire. That's what the fire does. So Canelo and his cronies do what they do. If you don't like it, don't take the fight. So I had sympathy for you in that first fight, like I had sympathy for Miguel Cotto and so forth, who I thought were harshly done to by the judges. But now I know what they're all about, and you know, Gennady, what they're all about, and Abel Sanchez, and you've took good money for it, 42%. Not many get that sort of split v Canelo. Now you've took that money, all is fair at war. If they screw you over again, well, it's tough. You got paid for it. You knew what they were all about. Tough. You put your hand in the fire. Don't complain when it burns you. It's as simple as that. So, I'll know of what I see who's won the fight. But again, I will only chuckle to myself if you are robbed. And I will think, well, you're a rich man, you deserve it, you've set your family up for generations, but you're a fool also. And trust me, this world finds a way of giving fools what they deserve. Go at this fight 100%, Gennady. I wish you well. I wish Canelo well. But know what you're in for. Know what you're in for. So Gennady Golovkin needs to be more, when the time presents itself, more reckless. More reckless. Throw them shots when Canelo is taking his rests. That's the chance. Don't always look for the perfect one. Go to the body. Don't allow him to escape off the ropes. And then Canelo. You meet Golovkin head on. You've got the bulk, you've got the size, you have the strength. You proved it. You had some good moments in that fight on the inside, landing uppercuts and sharp punches. You have better hand speed. You possibly are you are a better counterpuncher. You possibly, when things are close, up close, not at a distance, you up close are arguably the better boxer. You are arguably on a level playing field in terms of body shots with Golovkin. Can you get that stamina where it needs to be? You also, in that first fight, shown some good punch resistance, better than I thought. So you can stay there, I think. The only way you get stopped for me, Canelo, is if Golovkin, which is capable of it, throws a magnificent power punch at them strange angles, catches you off guard. It's possible. But if you're able to defend well with head movement, and you've got a steady defense and can parry shots, you only get stopped by exhaustion and being broken down. That again is related to your stamina. Can you keep this bulk, this Hulk frame you've got, and build your stamina without losing muscle? That's the key question. That's the conundrum they've got to come up with. Because as much as I will laugh if the judges give the decision to Golovkin, if you really don't win this fight, Canelo, and it's another robbery, your legacy is just going not 6 feet under, 12 feet under. The drug scandal is not good for you. This relationship you have with CJ Ross, I don't know if you're seeing her in private behind your wife's back, but it's not good for your legacy. And people will always talk about this stuff, right? Your promoter is not doing good things for you and himself. It's a good job you have such a big fan base. But the fact you've had to submit so much money now to Golovkin is a clear sign that things are starting to shift. At the T-Mobile Arena, when these two guys walk down the ring, Canelo, Golovkin is going to be the hero. He's going to be cheered by your fans more than you. Wasn't so much like that in the first fight until the decision. So if you beat Golovkin, it has to be genuine. Then people will know you was clean on that night. You adapted and made stamina your friend rather than a weakness. And therefore you really did beat Gennady Golovkin. That will justify your whole career then. People then will even start to say, well, maybe it was a mistake. Maybe it was only traces of clenbuterol in the beef after all. Because look at him tonight. Just fixing this stamina issue somehow, some way. I don't know how you can, but if you can do it, it changes the whole dynamic of your legacy. If you can maintain what you did in the first couple of rounds somehow, you're on a winner. You're on a winner. But all this remains to be seen. I'm going Golovkin at this point, but it would not surprise me if Father Time caught up with Golovkin. I see two scenarios. I see one, the old man produces one last great hurrah. Or Father Time is knocking on the door and the door is kicked down. Either way, I'm not going to say I'm not going to watch this fight, but the pressure's off as far as I'm concerned as a spectator. I know any number of nonsense could happen. So nothing's going to upset me now. It's not going to disturb me like it did the first fight. I don't think it's going to disturb a lot of people, to be honest with you. If Canelo gets beat, people will say, thank God, the controversy cheater got what was coming to him. And if Golovkin gets beat, people will say, well, he asked for it. He put his hand in the fire and he got burned. So this video, I suppose, is about a real dose of reality. The things in this world that people don't want to listen about. They don't want to talk about. But that's not what my channel's about. My channel is about boxing, and to be honest, I try to get away from the political side, but it's all connected, isn't it? Without it, there isn't a lot to talk about because people love gossip. And there's not a person on this earth that at times doesn't love gossip. I don't care what they tell me. I don't care what they tell me. It's the truth. This reality show, though, there will be a third match, I think. If Golovkin is competitive, if he beats Canelo, then there's another match. If Canelo wins, but it's a close affair, there's another match. Why? When he talks. Golovkin will strengthen his cause, though, for the third fight. If he wins, then he takes the A game, in my view. So that's what I have for you so far. Again, I expect, and I won't be surprised, if my pick wins, which is Golovkin. And I won't be shocked if Canelo wins, because that's boxing. And this is Champions of Champions Boxing Talk. Remember, subscribe, and I'm out.